And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show, and this is going to be episode 413. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, we have one topic for you guys tonight for this episode of the MSK show, and that will be for the writer for Batman Brave and the Bold is a huge red flag. And our guest tonight for this episode of the MSK show is Price of Reason. And what was the actual price of reason he could give us? Like, how much money did they offer you to actually start speaking the truth? You know?
It's funny. Somebody from Lucasfilm once said that I was worth $1.05. The reason why he said it is because there's that movie Team America World Police, and they say freedom costs $1.05. It's a guy called Pablo Hidalgo, which is like Kathleen Kennedy's one of her top people, and he in the past used to be much more online, looking at people criticizing the company. And I saw once that somebody asked him, "What do you think the price of reason is worth," or something like that. He was referring to me, and he said he's worth $1.05. So that's apparently the price they've put on me.
Good Lord. So you're not even worth like a bag of chips to them? That's crazy.
No. But yeah, I mean, I wonder what's going to happen to him after Kathleen Kennedy leaves. I'm so surprised that guy still working at Lucasfilm.
Oh, God. Good old Star Wars. You know what's crazy? Those people that were saying that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be fired or stepping down are finally vindicated after how many years of saying that? Like 6-7 years. They're like, well, I told you she was going to get fired. I told you she was stepping down. Yeah, when people say those things, guys, for like news, you say them with the anticipation it's going to happen like what? Like 3-6 months, at least at most a year. And you've been saying that every single year. Obviously, at some point, it probably will happen, but it's like anyone with like any sentiment of a brain or any set of eyes could see she was eventually going to step down. And I'll be honest with people, she's stepping down, but she's still going to be in some sort of like advisory role. She's just not going to be the fall person. That's all. At her age, do you think she likes logging in? She has a Twitter account. It's probably a secret one, right? She logs into Twitter and she hears, and she literally reads, and I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it because she's a woman and she deserves it. I'm not saying that, this is right to do, but this is what they do. Because all these people, even like her, will be like, I don't really go on social media like that. What they say is like they're incels and stuff like that. Promise you guys, women are not like that. Women are some of the most disgusting parasites to exist on this planet. They'll say one thing while doing another. I guarantee you, she has a secret Twitter account she logs into every day because we all have Twitter. She sees hundreds, if not thousands, I would argue millions of comments saying that she should KYS. She's a piece of shit. She ruined Star Wars. At some point, and I do kind of agree with her on this, at some point it will mentally drain you seeing that. Now, I'm not saying she doesn't deserve that. She deserves all that stuff. But, like she's just done kind of being the fall guy, in my opinion. That's why she's having this other guy take over, because why would she want to tank millions of people calling her a stupid, worthless bitch every day for the last, how many years has been happening? Since 15? It's like 11 years that's been going on. Like, imagine millions of comments every day saying you ruined their entire life.
Well, to be honest, most of the bad comments came since 2017 with the release of The Last Jedi. So I say she got 9 years of heavy criticism. But,
Lord, yeah.
there were many YouTube channels, and I'm not criticizing anybody because at the end, you try to report the news as best as you can, and you do your videos, and I'll never knock anybody's hustle. But I will say that at least I feel good about myself. If you look at my videos, if you look at my thumbnails, and actually watch the videos I've done about Kathleen Kennedy in recent years, there are a few that I did, maybe one in 2024, one in 2023, maybe even before that I just said that she would leave when she's good and ready. That all this talk, because there used to be people that had quote unquote insiders, and they'd be saying, security is already there escorting her out of the building. She has the cardboard box. She's packing it up, and they're escorting her out. They don't want to tell anybody that she's already gone. They've disconnected her phone. All this weird shit. And I never believed it. I knew 100% this lady has too many powerful friends, and she may not be good at doing Star Wars, but when it comes to
Mhm.
her political position in Hollywood, it's
Yeah.
just unmatched. And that's why they couldn't get rid of her for so many years, because politically it's very difficult to move her. And now at the end, she did it when she's good and ready. And not only that, she chose her successors. She's staying as a consulting producer. It's all under her terms. And on
Mhm.
her way out, there's going to be people clapping and giving her gifts and awards. And everybody's going to tell her she's the best thing that ever happened. There's no accountability. Nobody's saying, "Oh, you ruined the best franchise in the world." Nobody's saying that to her. Everybody's telling her that she's wonderful.
That's the other issue when it comes to like her position is nobody even would even attempt to do this that will ever say this to her, guys. You messed up, because that's not what you do to people of that power in Hollywood, especially a woman. Actually, you probably say it to a dude, it probably won't matter, but saying it to her in her position of power, no way. You definitely for sure would be in the position of losing your job. It's just one of those things where, eventually, everyone, we're going to do a video about that where she is stepping down, but just want to give you guys my own just personal opinion about it. I don't really think she's stepping down as more as like taking a back seat and not going to be in the public eye as much, because she gets, if you go under threads about her, there's just a world you would never want to actually experience. Imagine thousands of comments every day for the last 9 years telling you you're a bitch, you're ugly, you're a fucking worthless piece of shit, you should die, you ruined their life. Good Lord. I think at some point she was like, you know what? I'm done. Especially after the acolyte. How can you show her face after that?
A
You
quick
know?
question. Quick
Yeah.
question. I mean, is she actually going to be in a consultant role, or is she just producing on the film she already initiated? Because that was my
Well,
understanding, is that she was just sticking around for the ones that she already initiated, and then after that, it was going to be pretty much Filoni's show. But I mean, if she's staying on as a full time consultant, that's like a whole
I,
different ball game.
so,
Since she's not really gone.
sometimes you have a situation where somebody in their contract, there's something baked in that if they leave, they still get a salary for a year, and there's still some kind of behind the scenes consultant. In her case, we see that with the movies she's still involved in the production of. And I think that when it comes to those movies, especially the Starfighter one with Ryan Gosling, she's going to be front and center, and she's not going to let anybody move her. And I feel like as long as that movie is still happening, her presence is still going to loom large over these lieutenants that she herself appointed as her successors. These are her people. I still
Agreed.
think that she's
Yeah.
gonna, maybe she's not gonna be the decision maker, whatever you want to say, but I think she's still gonna have some kind of behind the scenes influence for a while, until maybe like that Starfighter movie comes out, and that's like in 2027. When does that
Yeah.
Starfighter come out?
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be when it is, because Mandalorian and Grogu's this year, and I think Starfighter's supposed to be the
Right,
year after.
exactly.
Yeah. And then
So
that Simon Kinberg movie is supposed to be coming out, right? It's supposed to be coming out like what? Very soon at some point. They haven't started production yet, but I remember that was gonna be another movie where it's gonna be like is that supposed to be like episode 10 or some shit, you know?
I
I'm
have no idea. I know they're talking about it being another trilogy, but yeah, my understanding was she was sticking around at least through Starfighter, and I think I agree with you, Price, that yeah, she's going to be front and center, because if that movie's a success, then she wants to go out on a winning note.
right.
And
Yeah.
if it bombs, then yeah, her legacy's I mean, she goes out the door a loser. I think she wants to go out the door a winner, and she's hoping Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter will be those that'll give her that
Isn't
win
that
she needs.
Darth Maul animated series
Yeah,
coming out very soon?
the thing is, when it comes to the animated stuff, like there have been some that I've liked, some that I haven't. I mean, from what I've seen, most of the animated stuff has been fairly well received. My issue has been, because a lot of that animated stuff is Filoni's been front and center on that. Um, for me, it's been his live action stuff. I think most of that is sucked,
Yeah,
and I think you're just swapping out one for the other, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that if Disney had some kind of license to do the animated shows, I don't think anybody would have an issue with that. You can take them or leave them, you can like them or not like them, but I think when it comes to the animated, when you think of the final season of Clone Wars, which is something that George Lucas started himself with Filoni, so
Hmm.
it's not like they really did anything special. Disney Rebels, at least some of it or whatever they can claim some credit for. But I'll say this: I think that if they stuck to animation and that was the only thing they did, people wouldn't be up in arms. The
Right.
problem is the live action, and the biggest problem within the live action is you only had one shot with the actors and the ages they were and all that stuff to do a sequel trilogy. It's the trilogy of movies that people had waited for like 40, 50 years just to see those movies. And you basically, what Kathleen Kennedy, and this she'll always go down in history as the lady that did a middle finger to everybody that wanted these trilogy, these movies, not because she thought like she had a great creative idea, not because like there was another story she wanted to tell, but because she was a social justice activist, and she hired people that are like-minded social justice activists, and they turned the franchise from some kind of escapist sci-fi that spans multiple generations and appeals to people all over the world, turned it into some kind of like political propaganda of her choice. And I think that that's the biggest sin. The fact that you see Mark Hamill saying, I wanted a scene with Harrison and Carrie Fisher, I couldn't understand why they wouldn't let us do that. And they kept saying, no, we can't do that. The fact that you're doing a sequel trilogy and you don't think you need a scene with all three of them together means you don't understand. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
there doing this. You don't understand the basics. Like, you should not be doing whatever you're doing. You should resign immediately.
Mhm.
Yeah, that should have been a layup. That's the thing. The Star Wars sequels should have been a layup. I mean, you had Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher all coming back. I mean, the movie could have sucked, but if you put the three of them on screen together and just had something fun, fans probably would have forgiven it just for that alone.
That's what the kids would have called these days, like aura farming. Imagine a scene where them all getting together and just having a moment, just a single moment. Like people need to understand this. We're never going to have it ever again because Carrie Fisher is dead.
Yeah,
you just never get these moments.
A good example is like Picard over on Paramount Plus. Seasons 1 and 2 were pretty bad, but season 3 was a lot more accepted by the fans, and they actually gave the fans the Enterprise crew on the bridge of the Enterprise, and for that they forgave a lot of the stuff that came before it, and we're like, yeah, we didn't like season 1 and 2, but season 3, yeah, that was great. At least they gave us this. And I'm not saying it was like the best show or whatnot, but I think fans were a lot more forgiving because they at least gave them what they wanted.
Mm-hmm. The thing is that the problem is that in Star Trek, you have another person like Kathleen Kennedy, which is Alex Kurtzman, which in both of their cases, they have things in common. They don't understand the franchise they're in charge of, and either they try to overcompensate with political activism, or they're just political activists because that's what they are. But the bottom line is both of them share those traits. And and there's another thing that they have both in common. They both have big egos. Kathleen Kennedy, when Jon Favreau came and did Mandalorian season 1, and some people were thinking that's pretty cool, and he did season 2, which wasn't as good as 1, but it was pretty good, and he brought back Luke Skywalker at the end and did that whole thing with the digital Luke or whatever it is, and people enjoyed it. Kathleen Kennedy, you'd think that Kathleen Kennedy and her top people would be excited. Instead, they were really, really pissed and annoyed. And that's why they made fun of Star Wars Theory for enjoying it, because he posted a video of him watching it, and he teared up when he saw Luke Skywalker. So Pablo Hidalgo, the guy that said I was worth $1.05, he laughed at Star Wars Theory. Now, he can laugh at price of reason. I really, in the grand scheme of things, maybe I am worth $1.05, but Star Wars Theory has like 3 million followers. I don't think that's the guy that you laugh at when his expertise is is Star Wars. He's considered like a mega fan with 3 million followers, and you're making fun of him for enjoying something that you released. That showed you that I think it was a lot of ego there. With Kurtzman, what happened with Star Trek is that season 3 of Picard, after season 1 and 2, nobody was watching it, and it was a disaster. There was a guy called Terry Matalas. He actually is not a bum. And Terry Matalas just said, hey, why don't I wrap up this show for you? Give me a smaller budget. Let me just you worry about your other shows. Go do Discovery or whatever it is. Let me handle this thing. And they told him, okay, here's a budget, a reduced budget. Do a final season 3 of Picard. They kind of gave him sort of carte blanche to do what he wants. However, they told him that he can't retcon the things that happened in season 1 and 2 out of existence. So Picard still had to be a stupid robot.
Right.
There were a few other stupid things there. And he said, you know what? I'll make it all work. Just let me do it. And they're like, fine. He does this season. And suddenly, it's the only thing in that whole Kurtzman era that people actually somewhat enjoyed. It wasn't perfect. It had flaws, and he had to deal with a lot of shit that they already gave him before, which he couldn't retcon out of existence. All things considered, I think that he did the best he could, and it wasn't a disaster. And like you said, Bob, the best thing that he did is that when everybody's on Enterprise D and they're on the bridge and the music is playing and you have the entire crew all standing there, I don't care if you're like, even if you're the most cynical guy. I myself was kind of grumpy watching, and I saw that, and I have to admit that even I felt some positive feeling seeing those guys stand there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then what happened? They learned the wrong lesson. Similar to Mandalorian. What happened? Kurtzman, the right thing to do is, Metalis was telling people that he wanted to do another show that continues this story with Picard's son called Legacy, Star Trek Legacy. Everybody was on board. Everybody that even mildly likes Star Trek was saying, okay, just give him the keys. Let him do some show with the son. Let him do something. Just fucking do it. And then what happened is that there was a lot of talk, and if rumor has it, if the rumors are true, Alex Kurtzman didn't like all of this. It was the only time I think this show actually appeared like in Nielsen ratings, was getting positive praise from critics and fans and everybody. There was a celebration of Star Trek. Instead of capitalizing on the momentum, he's like, nope, gotta do Section 31, gotta do Starfleet Academy. Why? Nobody gives a shit about those shows. Nobody likes your stupid shows. He doesn't understand Star Trek. He's never understood Star Trek. The person, he's a disgrace and a disaster. And the one thing that happened to fall into his lap that accidentally was good, immediately, like a hot potato, they got rid of it. Same with Kathleen Kennedy. And I will still tell you that her and her people, this is my opinion, of course. It's more than an opinion, but they purposely wanted to get rid of Gina Carano when they saw how well that Mandalorian was doing, because Kathleen Kennedy kept wanting to say that she is the one that the strong women. She's a strong woman, and she's going to bring strong women to Star Wars. And all of her stuff failed. And at the end, Jon Favreau brought a physically strong woman, who was Gina Carano. I think that Jon Favreau probably didn't understand. She probably told him in a meeting, I really want to see strong women. He's like, don't worry.
I got one for you.
Yeah, I got you. I'll bring a strong woman. I got you.
Anytime they bring up the strong women point of view, you're like, all right, buddy. All right. Okay. Okay.
And then, once this strong woman was doing well and popular with fans, and then it turned out she was like a Republican, that was the end. I feel like they sat around all day and all night trying to find her tweets, trying to find anything to get rid of her. And there's a reason why they ended up settling with her. Let's just say that, in my opinion, at least.
Agreed.
All right. I know we're not going to be actually live that long tonight because my wife wants to actually ride my face. But, we're going to be getting to the topic here in just a moment. But we'll just quickly do intros. I know WZ's going to watch this back and go, where's the intros? Price of Reason. How was your week been so far? We haven't talked to you in a while. So how was your holiday season too?
It was fine. I don't have anything special to report. Everything is fine.
That's good. It's good. Bob, how was your life been so far?
Dude, it's been good. It's been a few weeks since we've been over here. So
good Lord, man. I feel like we're like inside the NBA. Like we're going to take like 3-week breaks from doing a show Monday, then come back. It's like a sequel that everyone's looking forward to. That part is not true. That's what I have to build up in my head, actually.
But yeah, no, man, just staying busy as always between work and this hobby of mine here. So yeah, but it's.
What did you think about the football games from yesterday?
You know what?
I knew I bet the Patriots.
I really was hoping that the Rams were going to win it, but I wasn't surprised that Seattle won it. And with Stidham at quarterback and that snowstorm, I was pretty sure that the Patriots were going to win it. I mean, we can make an argument that the Broncos should have won because of that one pass that probably should have been rolled pass. But even then,
Well, the reason why I had already checked out of the Broncos winning is because when I think Chaz had told me the quarterback was already going to be out, I was like, okay, that's already pretty much the hugest red flag that can happen in a big marquee game. Then yesterday, people haven't watched the Rams and Seahawks game because the Seahawks barely beat the Rams the last time they played, which is for that bye round that they ended up getting. That's how important that match was. Yesterday, they had Matthew Stafford had so many chances to win that game. When one of their players, I forgot, got that one touchdown when they were down like 17-31 and he brought the game back. That was like your moment right there. And then one of their players dropped the ball twice after getting a kick to them. Yeah, it was a kick. He dropped it. It was a nice throw. He dropped just 2 drops. It's like, and then I think the third time's the charm was it was quarter 4 minutes, 45 seconds in. He throws that last pass. It doesn't complete. They don't get the
in hindsight, they probably should have kicked the field goal there and just tried to play defense. But then again, I kind of understand why they did it. It's not
they
like
had so many chances to win.
Was holding, so
I can't feel bad for them. I knew it was a toss-up. That's why I didn't pick someone to win. People think, oh, it's a coward's way out. It was a very even matchup. Coin toss. To be honest, it doesn't really matter who wins out of that. They're probably going to win the whole thing, hopefully, right? Wink, wink. Patriots Magic in the Super Bowl finals, who knows? But it's like the Rams had so many chances to win. Like at some point, it's like you don't want to win if you're fumbling this hard. Or, they also have that one player who's been in like how many finals of NFC and just choked every single one of them, 5 straight. I forgot the black guy's name. I think Devontae Adams or some shit. I forgot his name. He's just been a massive choker and big clutch moments.
But to be fair, he played a pretty good game yesterday. So
that wasn't his fault, actually.
Yeah, that wasn't the reason why they lost. Yeah, at the end of the day, it was the way that it went down the way that it did. But I honestly thought that the NFC West was the best division in football. So it wasn't surprising that the 49ers, Rams, and the Seahawks were all there deep in the playoffs, and that final matchup was between the Seahawks and the Rams. So
you're roboting a bit.
There you go.
It's either me roboting or him. I don't know.
No, it's probably me.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You're good. You're good. Don't worry. We'll just cut that out on the replay. And the magic of editing, actually. but no, like my team was already out because the 49ers kicked them out because Jalen Brunson should be working at Burger King for how bad he just fucking ran down the whole season. It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry. I know my close friend James is a Rams fan, and I know Walter, who's usually in here, is a Bills fan. It's okay, guys. You don't have to get the rope. It's okay. It's just a sport. You have next year and the year after that. Don't worry, guys. It's okay. Things will be fine. The worst thing that could happen is we get a Seahawks and Patriots finals. And the worst thing that could happen is their fucking new quarterback does the same shit that the previous Seahawks quarterback did in that one finals that happened some years ago. Might have been the biggest throw I've ever seen in a game like that, where literally all you do was just throw the ball, or all you do is you could just run the ball. He runs the ball in, you get a touchdown, then you get the field goal, you win. Dude chose to throw the ball, and it got that, for me, biggest fucking choke I've ever seen. Oh, he also have the Falcons one too, but good Lord. And speaking of choking, my wife's been very good at that recently. No?
Holy shit.
That's why they call me the Riz King. All right. So, oh my God. If you guys don't know why I'm sitting like this, this part of my back right here actually hurts pretty bad. So after the show, I'm going to go get some rest, and no, I'm not getting my back blown out. That's not happening. Okay. Freaking weird.
You sure about that?
I thought you were on my side. So like this part of my back, I pinched a nerve or something. Maybe I moved a box wrong. I've been annihilated these past couple of freaking hours. Oh my goodness. But we're going to get into our juicy topic tonight because I've wanted to talk about this for quite some time. And I can't wait to yell at stupid people because stupid people make me angry. Well, that just kind of goes without saying. Also, this is a note for anyone that's alive right now currently. Don't try and ram federal agents with your vehicle. Try not to do that. Also, try not to impede on a federal officer's, takedown of someone. Probably also not a good idea. Also, just because you like said president doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that happens. You see what I'm bringing up here? Multiple things can be true at once. It's not all like this crazy monolithic way that people view everything. Like, I will say the Rini Good situation, I'd argue was, she kind of walked into that one. The other one is like, oh shit, that's looking a little bad, but it's all the same shit. You guys got to understand. Like, when you have people on Twitter going, we can disagree on a favorite flavor of ice cream, but but we can't disagree on human rights. Okay. I don't know if a flavor of ice cream disagreement is the same as that. But sure, white liberal women are retarded and they have blue hair and they all have septum rings too. Good Lord, fuck. Where's our world turning into? And they're all, I can't say that word on Twitch. God damn it. But they're all overweight. That's the best way of me putting it. Oh God, they're fucking stupid. Woo! Once I saw lesbian, she, her pronouns, poet. That's a red flag. All of us are like, oh. Shit. All of us are thinking it. All right.
Fatality.
Oh my God. All right. Speaking of stupid women and women that ruin people's lives and write shitty fucking movies and people pretend to like them. All right, let's have some fun here. Oh my God. Jeez. Price, can you give me a back massage, please?
Oh God.
It's strange. My back is kind of bothering me too. And I kind of, it's not as bad as what you're describing, but I was worrying like before this stream. I'm like, my back is kind of bothering me. And then you said it, and I'm like, I mean, maybe there's something going around.
It's just lower, because mine's is literally just right here.
Mine is like in the middle of the back, on the right.
Did you move something badly?
I don't think so. I don't really know. I maybe before the storm, I was moving, trying to get some stuff like groceries. I don't know. I could have, boxes of beverages. I don't know. Maybe I moved something.
Are you boxing someone?
No, not at all. Not at all. It is cold. The weather's cold, and sometimes that's exactly the time that you do the wrong movements.
You're right. Yeah,
that was me last week,
dude. Last night, literally, I had to. That was probably the worst night I slept through the whole night. I literally couldn't even move. I think I literally went to bed by laying on my carpet like this to the ground with my back arched because I couldn't. If I laid down like this, oh my God, woo, I would be annihilated. But outside of my problems that my wife will not fix because she's not real and she's a sock and she's crusty, let's have some fun. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the writer for Batman Brave and the Bold is a huge red flag. So it has been revealed that the writer for the Batman DCU movie is actually Christina Hodson. So if any stupid retard watches this video and actually thinks in their brain that that lady is the right hire to write this movie, well, I have a story for you to tell you right now. So let's just start it here. When people say, oh, it wasn't her fault on said movies, like, no shit, Sherlock. We know that executives and wait a minute, hold on. Fucking hell. Oh my God. Why is there so much pain? Okay, I can do this. Hold on. My brain hasn't fallen off. Bob, you want to make love to me?
Holy shit.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, I can do this. Price, all I need is a back massage. That's all I need. I'm not gonna be shirtless and no lotion. That's gay. Once you bring in the lotion, that's when it turns gay. Okay, all right, let's fucking go. Woo! I'm ready. I'm not gonna get stretched out tonight. Not happening. All right. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the writer for Batman Brave and the Bold is a huge red flag. So the writer for the Batman Brave and the Bold movie has been revealed, and it is the biggest red flag I think that could have ever been announced for this movie. Now, I will actually primarily put that into a category of two things. The first thing was it was revealed that potentially Andy Muschietti was going to direct the movie. Kind of a red flag, right? Then it was announced a few days ago that Christina Hodson is going to be the writer for Batman Brave and the Bold. And this Batman movie is going to be a part of the DC cinematic universe. And Christina Hodson, if you guys are actually not retarded and not stupid, well, I hope you would live on this planet Earth, because anyone that thinks that this is not a red flag, you are a moron. You are actually stupid. Now, multiple things can be true in filmmaking in general, right? So, yes, it is not her fault certain executives made decisions and overrode her on creative decisions. Obviously, that's happened since basically movies have existed, though. I don't know why we bring up these stupid pieces of trivia saying, well, did you know an executive kind of told this director to do that? Like, no shit, Sherlock. That shit's been happening since movies have existed. People meddling in with the vision and trying to get what they want to see out of the movie done. Like, no shit. But this is a person who's written 2 DC superhero movies, or you could say comic book movies, that are horrible. They aren't even like passable as far as like what you kids would call mid. They're legit bad. So let's go through her filmography really quickly. Outside of that short film, Agent Burns, Welcome to Sector 7, 2019. Outside of that, her first big break was this movie called Shut In, which I'm pretty sure none of you've watched. Then you have Unforgettable, another movie probably none of you've watched. Bumblebee is the movie that people really know her for. Now, keep in mind, Bumblebee is a movie that people say, oh, that first like 20 minutes was good. Well, what the rest of that movie? That shit's out of their brains, you know? Imagine how good this movie is when you only talk about the first 5 minutes. That must be a steaming pile of ass, or it's mid, as you kids call these days, right? Let's go to this next one, Birds of Prey. Now, like I said before, and I make sure I preference this, yes, not everything is her fault. I agree. But her writing decisions on these characters are horrible. People keep saying, I love what people keep saying, just Cassandra Cain. No, it wasn't the only sin in the movie. Black Mask is written terribly. Harley Quinn is written terribly. Black Canary is written terribly. She was racially swapped in the movie too. Black Canary is not black, people, as far as her name is. It's just her costume is black. Black Canary, played by that ugly, disgusting animal, Jernay Smollett or something like that. Terrible fucking decision. Then you have that ugly retard who was trying to play Huntress. That was the worst acting I've seen in my life. That scene, she comes in with those arrows and she killed those dudes. She was like, I'm the Huntress. Oh, God, I'm terrible. Fuck, that acting was bad. Then you have Renee Montoya. Trash. Don't know why she was in the movie. Just trash. She had like these Power Ranger fight scenes, whatever. And then what's the worst part is you had like Victor's ass, another cool, like randomly underrated, overrated, underrated kind of Batman villain, shitted on. That whole movie's terrible. I ask people, why do you like Birds of Prey? Give me a good scene out of it. They can't tell you it, but this movie gets too much hate. That's how you know someone hasn't watched a movie. What is this getting too much hate? It deserves every bit of hate. It's written like shit. It has no narrative cohesion. It actually has horrible dialogue. There's a part in Birds of Prey where Harley Quinn is trying to catch up to Black Mask in a vehicle with roller skates.
That bad, huh? I never saw it, so I'll take your word for it.
In this movie, Black Mask is wealthy as hell. He could hire people like Deathstroke. He goes, kidnaps Harley Quinn, and hires her to do something to get that diamond out of Cassandra Cain's stomach because she swallows it. Hold on. Wait a minute. He's filthy rich. He can hire any great assassin in DC, but he chooses to hire the white girl who can do acrobatics.
Holy shit.
Then Black Canary, whose power is to scream at you. It's really powerful. It can actually damage your fucking ear and make you deaf. It's a powerful fucking scream this character can do. She can only scream once, and then she passes out. And then also, the characters can go through it. You can't go through that. It will kill you. You cannot go through that. If you say, and keep in mind, it's all subjective. I agree. If you say Birds of Prey is a good movie, I think you're retarded.
That sounds pretty bad.
Oh, it's worse. Then there's moments. Oh god, there's so many retarded moments. Yeah, you can say Cassandra Cain's the worst part about it because that's really horribly changed. Keep in mind, the whole movie's bad. And then, oh great, you know what was crazy? This is how it happens in Hollywood. You get to fail upwards. Let's go to this next one she wrote, The Flash. One, I agree. Executive meddling aside, she wrote Batman pretty bad. She wrote The Flash terribly. Her script is garbage. Now, keep in mind, the Flash movie had gone through many scripts, many directors, many producers, all these many years, right? And Warner Brothers went, well, you know what? Since 15 other people give up on this pile of ass, we must settle on this pile of ass. This is a Flash movie. I shit you not. I don't know if you watched it. You'll really pay attention to this. This is a Flash movie where the people say that Barry's dad killed his mom. Okay. How could Barry's dad have killed his mom when he wasn't even in the house? He was at a convenience store, and the surveillance cameras allegedly can't see him when he's there, even though he was there and he said he was there. He literally wasn't in the building. How in the world could that guy have killed his mom? You know, people say, but in the Flash TV show, it's different in the TV show because Barry's dad was in the house when it happened. A reasonable person would go, maybe he could have did it. In the movie, Barry's dad left. I'd argue. Also in this Flash movie, they lose Michael Keaton and then somehow turn back time. I shit you not. They said this about 80 times they tried this and failed. How do you fail 80 times doing the same shit, running the same scenario? Apparently, in the Flash movie, Zod has this thing that can come out of his gauntlet and kill a Kryptonian. Fuck me. What the? Why didn't he just do that in Man of Steel? Just horrible fucking writing we have here. Oh, and casually in this Flash movie, this great piece of written cinema you guys fucking sent for this freaking Chinese lady. Holy shit. You know what happens? Barry knows how he gets his powers. He knows how he gets them, then puts himself in the same position to lose them for half the movie. Keep in mind, this is considered written good. He literally says to himself, I know how I got my powers. It happened, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Then he puts himself in the spot to lose his powers so he doesn't have them. People say Sasha what's that girl? The Supergirl.
Kaye, whatever. Sasha
Utterly
Kaye.
boring and useless. She's just like, what was good about that? She's just like, she was a nothing character. You know what? James Gunn's Supergirl might be bad. I'm not going to say this. I haven't seen it yet. I'll take that version over that. She was nothing. She did nothing in the movie. All she did was, you know how that kid Clavicular says Mog? All she did was Mog. She didn't do anything. She just, well, I'm just going to do this. Oh, what the fuck? Just horrible. Oh, apparently Dark Flash had seen all this happen throughout the whole movie and just let them kill me. That writer I just described, all those heinous things in that movie. That writer is going to write Batman. She couldn't even write a coherent Flash movie. She can't write a coherent female-led movie. And now apparently she is going to be the writer of Batman. And for you retards out there, you dumb fucking dumb losers who let your wife peg you at night, you're going to tell me she's going to write a good Batman movie. How in the fucking world will that happen? You convince me. She wrote a Batman. Okay. Where he goes, let up by the lasso of truth. And he's like, man, I'm just an egotistical moron. Yeah, because that would be Batman's logic when he's in the lasso of truth. Just fucking logical reasons, right? Also, let's just point out, if someone can do a scenario 90 times, how do you fail? You know what's going to happen. You can't save him. Michael Keaton's Batman just appears in the movie. Just what does he do? He just tell you he kills people. Retarded logic. He kills people in the original movies he was in. He says, I killed someone, so I retired. You killed people in the first two. She didn't even watch the movie. She didn't even know. What is this? How someone convinced me she's going to write a good Batman movie with what I've just told you, with everything I just listed. That's like 50 things. I could go on more, but I won't blow my brains out more. Holy shit. James Gunn hiring this lady, that's the worst hire. There's nothing worse than that. I'd rather have Tom King write this movie. At least there'd be, you know what? I probably wouldn't like it, but there'd be something there. At least he'd write something that's where it's like, well, that's kind of bad, but at least it kind of makes narrative sense with what this horrible movie's going to tell you. She can't write worth a shit. She can't write anything. And retards on Twitter who let their wife peg them where they suck on their wife's dick every day. Oh my God. Oh, it's going to be a great movie. Why? Well, because she already wrote to. Hardy dar, guys. What does this world come to? Why would she be picked to write Batman? We can't even write a Flash movie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to say something that I still don't even know if she is writing Batman, and I'll tell you why. Basically, James Gunn, when he arrived at Warner Brothers co-CEO as DC, he did this big announcement, and he made it seem like the important Batman of the DCU is his Batman, and it'll be the brave and the bold. And he said if something happens with Matt Reeves, that's considered Elseworld. But then what happened was, and I know some people try to pretend this isn't a thing, but I 100% believe this is a thing. Until Superman came out, They hadn't officially announced that there is a Batman 2 for Matt Reeves. And I think the reason why they didn't announce it is because James Gunn was really swinging, his dick around there. And, they were all sure that this movie is going to make 800 million to $1 billion at the box office, thinking that if he can deliver that, maybe they'll go more in his direction with the Batman and let him do whatever he does, because that was supposed to be his big moment. Instead, his movie comes out and underperforms. Now, it's not the biggest flop on the face of the earth, but at the end of the day, it's considering the amount of money they spilled into that movie, including a ton of marketing, they didn't get back the money that they were looking for. Maybe with all the streaming at the end, you could say they didn't lose money. Maybe yes, maybe no. That's not what a company like that does. When they launch Superman in a new universe, they're expecting to make like 800 to $1 billion. Once he did that, and in addition, Peacemaker came out and did very poorly with viewers, and they didn't like it because it became very woke and all that. So Peacemaker was a flop. Superman was a very minor flop, or whatever you want to call it. Suddenly, around that time, and if you look at the articles, that's when they announced. They're like, "Yep, here we have the script for Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves is getting a second movie." And at that time, you never heard James Gunn talking about this DCU Brave and the Bold Batman. In interviews, when he'd be on the red carpet, he said, "I'm focusing on the Superman saga." And the reason why he said that, and this is what I believe, and I've reported it back then, is that I believe that he was told, "Listen, we're letting him make Batman. You can continue to do whatever is in your wheelhouse. You're already in the middle of production on Supergirl. You're already filming Lanterns. You do those things." Maybe they even threw him a bone and said, "Do Man of Tomorrow. Try to sum up this whole story of this quote unquote Superman saga." They did not greenlight as Batman, from what I can tell. And right now, this whole situation with Christina Hodson and Andy Muschietti, it's based on a rumor from Snyder, from Jeff Snyder, from what I can tell. I don't know that anybody official has confirmed this, and Snyder is sort of like Jeff Snyder is sort of hit and miss. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. He's a quirky character.
Yeah, you get those accounts on Twitter where they have this insider information and they always put like breaking and all that shit, like my time to what's that chick's name?
My time to shine, hello,
Yeah,
or all
yeah,
those things.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not saying that all of his scoops have been wrong, but at the same time, not all of his scoops have been right either. He's been also caught saying stuff that didn't happen. Maybe he thought it would happen, but it's not that everything happens. And who cares? It could be that she didn't even write one word. All that needed to happen was James Gunn having a meeting with her and Andy Muschietti, saying, "Guys, I really feel good about this." And they drank some coffee, said maybe this, maybe that. Even if, let's say, they told her they gave her a small check to start writing a treatment or something, it still doesn't mean that the movie is going to get made. Practically, what I think is, until this whole situation with the purchase of Warner Brothers gets resolved, I don't know how quick any regime is going to be in the middle of this limbo to greenlight a Batman movie when there's another Batman movie. Like, if anything, the Batman movie that I feel like Warner Brothers is riding on is the Matt Reeves one with Robert Pattinson. I think that this Batman of Gunn, which he was trying to push initially, was sidelined after the Superman underperformance and Peacemaker underperformance. And I think that even no matter if it's Netflix or if it's Paramount, there's a feeling that neither of those love James Gunn. Paramount, if they take over Warner Brothers, there's a good chance that they're not going to like Gunn at all. Maybe they'll let him finish his contract, but they don't see.
Because that's just cheaper to just finish his contract.
Right, because his contract was only extended minimally from the end of 2026 to spring 2027. That's not a vote of confidence. So if, let's say, Paramount takes over, maybe by the time they take charge, they take control, they just say, "Fuck it, we'll let him finish his contract, just whatever." If he goes to Netflix, until now, when they interviewed the CEO of Netflix and asked him, "What do you think about DC?" So you know what he said? From what I saw until now, he said, "I sure like that Matt Reeves guy. I watched Penguin and I really liked it." That's what he said. He didn't say, "I love James Gunn, I want to see what he does." There's other signs that I think that until now, whatever James Gunn has done may not have been a complete disaster, but it's also, in my opinion, getting somewhat of a lukewarm reception even internally. So all I'm saying is that, I could also tell you guys, we could talk about it on the stream now. We can say we're making a movie. we're making a movie about a detective that's going to Mars, and you know,
I want to be Felipe the dancing monkey. Come on.
you can do that. Bob is already working on the screenplay, and you know, we just need like one of those, you know, Mike Zeros to make a video about it. And who's to say that it's not happening? You know, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that in this whole limbo situation, somebody now has greenlit a project for James Gunn to spend like hundreds of millions of dollars on a Batman when they're already making another Batman, and this whole situation with Warner Brothers may very well end up in court.
Right.
You know, just real quick, Bryce, just to kind of piggyback off of what you said. You mentioned how you're very confident that they're riding with Pattinson's Batman. I think the Penguin being such a huge hit with audiences and critics didn't help James Gunn at all, because that came out right before he fully dived into his universe. And that was met with very high praise. And then he gets into his stuff, and like you said, it is very lukewarm.
Not only that, the thing with Penguin, why did Netflix like it? Why did Zaslav like it? In my opinion, because what do these guys like? Especially Zaslav and Sarandos. What do they especially like? Awards. It was nominated for legitimate awards. It won, I don't know if Emmys, Golden Globes. They were in the circuit of having like a quality show that had high ratings. Everybody was praising, and that Batman movie, whether you like it or not, because it's, you know, I have mixed feelings about Matt Reeves' Batman.
Me too. Yeah.
There's some aspects of it that I didn't mind. There's some aspects that could have been better. I know some people that love it, some people that hate it. I'm somewhere kind of in the middle, but I will say this: it performed better than James Gunn's Superman did.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was profitable given the budget and the marketing behind it, but it did, box office wise, it did perform better.
Listen, it made close to $800 million, and that was at a time, keep in mind, that when that movie came out, the Couve was still a thing much more. It was really one of the early movies that came out after the Couve, and people then were like, oh, are people going to the theater? Or people won't go? I went to it, and there were a ton of people around me when I watched it. There were people that went to see this movie. It made close to $800 million. Now, did they want it to make $1 billion? I'm sure that they did. But I think that under the circumstances, something around the 800-ish, along with a Penguin series that gets them like Emmys and Golden Globes and a lot of viewers and Nielsen ratings and all this other stuff, this is the kind of stuff they want to see. James Gunn, from what I can tell, didn't deliver any of that.
Absolutely agree.
I've heard a lot of people try to defend him, and I'll give the defenders one thing. It wasn't a disaster like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It wasn't one of those things where, like the Marvels, where or Captain America: Brave New World, where they spend like $500 million after reshoots and they make $5, and you know they lost like everything. You know, it's not one of those situations. It's a situation that probably in the box office it fell short of covering its expenses when it comes to the marketing and the production, but maybe through streaming it somehow at least wasn't a disaster. You know, I still will say that no company like this launches a superhero universe with Superman expecting to somehow walk away breaking even barely and calling it a win. You know what I mean?
That's the same thing that I've been saying. And because people are so stupid. I will give you guys an example. Not you guys. You guys want to say what I'm saying. But I'll give you average retards an example of this. So when someone says, why would LeBron James pick this basketball team over this basketball team? He's going to make a little bit less of millions with this team versus the Lakers. The example of that I'll give you guys is this. Making more money is what rich people always want to do. And it's not that they don't have enough money. They want more money. More money gives you access to do a lot of different things. So when you guys bring up that, well, they're satisfied with making that much money. They're not, guys. Like, understand this. If I'm filthy rich, I want, if I invested money, I would want a 10x return on my investment. That's just what it is, right? Warner Brothers put, let's just say minimum, for argument's sake, $300 million in. Do you genuinely think getting 616 is good enough?
No, it's not. Not only is it not good enough, whatever they spent, they have to, you know, make 2.5 times whatever they spent. And a lot of people believe that they weren't even honest about how much they did spend, because a lot of studios these days are very fishy when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they lie all the time. Yeah.
before the movie came out, all I can tell you is this: before the movie came out, even the biggest shills in the industry trades were saying that if the movie didn't make at least $700 million, it would be considered a disaster. And it made
Yeah, you're right.
$615 million. Now, $700 million, that still wouldn't have been considered a success. I am still telling you that they wanted $1 billion. They probably, with all the talk of like decline of movie theater or whatever, 800 to $1 billion. If let's say it would have been 779 or 790, maybe they would have been like, okay, next time get us another 10, 20 million here, James. Do a little better next time. But 615, which like Man of Steel, which they claimed was a failure before adjusting for inflation years earlier, made 670. That is the one thing. That is the one thing they wanted to avoid. Meaning, if I was James Gunn also, there's one thing that was understood. You better make more than Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, especially when you adjust Snyder's Man of Steel for today, it's like $900 million. So it's like,
right.
Dude.
Oh, I just want to point out, also, people don't even understand when it comes to box office. People just think that number that you just listed, 616, which is true, people think they just get all that money. Guys, no. The theaters take a cut. You cannot just put your stuff in someone else's building and not charge. I'll give an example. You go to Walmart and you buy like a Coke or something. Coca-Cola pays for the shelf space. Walmart and Coca-Cola both get a cut of that. Same thing happens with movie theaters. Movie theaters take a percentage of that. Warner Brothers just doesn't get $616 million for themselves. You need to minus 50% of that. Then you also need to minus whatever percentage that all those other international territories take. China, maybe not Russia and Ukraine right now, but you guys know what I'm saying, like Europe and all these other different Australian territories. All these people want to get their cut. So making 616 is just not good enough. It's the same logic that I used back in the day with BVS. Warner Bros. Wasn't fine with making 860 on BVS. No, they weren't. They spent like almost $400 million on that movie. They wanted $1 billion out of it. Spending $300 million and getting 616 is just not good enough. It just isn't. Now, you could really cope with it, like Price said, and said, maybe, you know what? We got that much. Maybe a sequel gives us the extra edge. But the sequel doing better has no parameters on the first one at all. It has nothing. Maybe people just like the sequel better, and that's why it performed better, right? So if the sequel comes out and it does, let's say, $800 million, that's just the sequel just being probably a better movie. That would have nothing to do with the first one. Or maybe Superman's success is just isolated to itself. Also to point out, Christina Hodson didn't even initially, let's say she is the writer for the movie. She initially didn't want to be it because she chose to write Fast X. I'm not kidding. She actually chose to write a Fast and Furious movie over Batman Brave and the Bold. Now, the reason why that I'm saying she could potentially be the writer is because she was listed as like Tom King and she was listed in that writer's room he had put together, stuff like that. So she may well be the writer. I know he hired another lady to write like Teen Titans or Wonder Woman or some shit like that. So this guy apparently loves giving women a lot of fucking credit. So let's go over this. Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold, taps Christina Hodson to write for DC Studios. Andy Muschietti remains involved as director as the studio takes a measured approach in its development. Because I remember he was talking about this for I know James Gunn mentioned something that you guys mentioned. He said he was going to take his time finding the right writer for this movie. I want people to understand. I don't know. Let's just hypothetically say she is, for argument's sake. This wouldn't be the right writer anyway. This is a terrible decision. This would be an absolutely horrible decision. And keep in mind,
she's never written anything decent, and I'll tell you what, that Bumblebee movie, it's Transformers for little girls. I know some people, I'm not hating on people. You know what? I'm the target audience for Transformers.
So
I watched every one of those stupid movies, even the ones that didn't make sense, which is pretty much all of them. The one with Bumblebee. with the one with what?
Okay. He gave like a half a compliment and then back-ended insult. I like it.
Holy
I'm the audience. We're
shit.
watching more. They all sucked.
They all kind of suck, but I'm the target audience for it. I'll just suck with it. Okay, I like the logic here he's using.
No, I get what you're saying, Bryce.
I'll tell you why I enjoyed them.
Sense.
I like the Transformers. I knew I was seeing a bunch of robots. The plot sucks in most of them, if not all of them. It's all ridiculous and preposterous and not well thought out. But I like seeing the robots on screen. They know it. That's how they made billions, because they know people like me will just go see the robots. With Bumblebee, It was more of like a coming of age story with some little girl keeps weeping. Not for me. You know what I mean? It's fine. Relatively speaking, that girl who's Josh Allen's wife or whatever it is.
Haley Steinfeld. Yeah.
She's not the worst. There's worse women
right.
on earth, I guess.
Yeah,
but
she's all right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate her, but I don't want to see a movie where she's weeping and crying the bumblebee for 2 hours. I don't give a shit about that. So this movie was very much like, I think the reason why it gets a pass is that today we're so used to all the kind of feminization of all these franchises. That one was a relatively early version of that, of whatever that agenda was, and I think people just kind of let it slide. If Bumblebee comes out today, everybody takes a dump on it. I think nobody has any patience for any stuff like this. And this lady, if you look at that movie, there's nothing special about it. If there's anything that you like, maybe it's the first few minutes of, like you said,
Cybertron. Yeah, that's it.
Cybertron.
No one talks about the rest of the movie. It's literally, I only talk about the first 2 minutes. That's it. That's how you know that movie is either really forgettable or it's just really bad.
It's not for me. I don't think that it's the worst thing that ever happened, but it's not for me. It's certainly not something that I watch and I think, wow, this coming of age story with this little girl, we got to let this screenwriter do Batman. I would never do that. Christina Hodson, they all have this kind of clique, all these people, and James Gunn for some reason seems to be in with all these weirdos. I don't think Christina Hodson is a good choice. I don't think that Andy Muschietti, quite honestly, is a good choice. He had his chance with The Flash. You could say the studio meddled, you could say a bunch of things, but there's really not a lot of redeeming qualities to that movie, regardless of the studio, not with the writing, not with the directing. It's hard to watch that movie and think, man, I really want to see more from Andy Muschietti.
He chose Supergirl. I know people all talk about studio meddling. He chose Supergirl. Why not we know that? Well, there's a video of him saying, hey, I really liked your audition. You could be Supergirl. So was it studio meddling, or did he have more say than he likes to let on? Because it's so easy just to blame, well, executives, blah, 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 blah. So easy to just blame them. I'm just saying that, it's also one of these things where people will say, well, everyone's going to go see the Batman movie when it comes out. Like, no shit, Sherlock. It's Batman. That's like their biggest thing ever. That's not an argument. Like, what argument is that? Hey, everyone's going to go see Batman. Yeah, they're hoping for that. People also saw that Matt Reeves one that really wasn't that good at all, honestly. Yeah, that one almost made $750 million. And people also bring up the stupid argument. Well, if it's good, people will just lie and say it's not. That's subjective anyway. That's not even an argument itself. Like, okay, what if the movie comes out, makes gangbusters of money? Let's say it makes like $900 million. That wouldn't mean it's good. Captain Marvel made like $1 billion. That movie sucks. That movie sucks ass. I mean, highest grossing movies on that list that suck complete donkey ass. A lot of them are not good.
Captain Marvel was sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame, and the audiences were told that if you want to know what happens in Endgame, you're going to have to see Captain Marvel. The ending of Infinity War, when all that stuff happens to all those people, is that like you have the beeper with Captain Marvel. So there was no chance that this movie was going to be a flop. It's like any movie that you would have sandwiched between these two movies and also positioned it as important to the plot of both movies, of like all three movies, probably would have been done well. Even if it was a movie about the three of us and we're like, hanging around and like eating burgers and shit, that would still have probably made some good money too.
Yeah, you could have, like, at that moment in time, because the MCU had like $5 billion movies in a row, you could have straight up did a movie about Squirrel Girl and say it was integral to Endgame. I promise you guys, people would have went and watched it. It's that integral. If that, as they were lying as Kevin Feige lied to like marketing, but I just don't even understand why she would even be in the conversation. She wrote horrible comic book movies. It's one of these weird things where apparently if a male wrote those movies that we're talking about, he wouldn't get a job here. She writes them.
I have a theory. I have a theory. It's a bit of a rabbit hole, but work with me. Mm-hmm. Andy Muschietti and Christina Hodson, they are part of the clique. Now, if you brought, let's say, an outside screenwriter, if let's say you called Quentin Tarantino and he agreed to write the screenplay, you can't futz around with that. You can't do rumors. You can't announce that he's writing it and then say, oh, maybe there isn't a movie after all. With those guys, they're already in the system. They worked on The Flash. They worked on Welcome to Derry. They're working on, now he said, oh, Batman this. It's almost like a wink, wink. It's like, if you ask me, I wouldn't put it beside James Gunn that he himself started this rumor himself with him wanting people to build a buzz surrounding this Batman Brave and the Bold without it actually being greenlit. And the only way he could do it is he needed people on the inside that'll go along with the sham. I know this sounds bad, but it's at least a possibility. He calls Christina Hodson. He says, "Listen, wink, wink. You're writing the screenplay. Andy Muschietti, wink, wink. You're directing the movie. You know, it's possible that you'll see a few articles or whatever. You got to play coy about it. You know, I'm trying to build some momentum for this project. If something takes off, I'll definitely include you guys in the mix." He could also bring another writer and let Christina Hodson still stay, you know, as somebody that contributed at some of the writing, still give her a check if you really wanted to. Andy Muschietti could stay as an executive producer. There's so many things that he could do if he really wanted. I don't even know if we're at that phase yet that even anybody signed anything. This looks like a bunch of weird shit to me. James Gunn for the past few months has been super stressed and worried. He runs to do like interviews with shills, runs to newspapers to keep trying to build his brand. Meanwhile, the whole situation with Warner Brothers is pretty much in chaos. So I don't know. The whole timing of it is weird. And the final thing I'll say is I think there's a bit of a tug of war with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is very, very has very, very good relationships with the Saudi investors in that Paramount deal. So he went over the holidays to hang out with them. You know, if Paramount gets Warner Brothers, there is, I think, a realistic chance. I know it sounds strange because I didn't think so if you would have told me a year ago. Yeah. I think that Zack Snyder just may get a movie. If it has something to do with those guys and they invested the money and the deal goes through, there's a chance that Zack Snyder at least gets one movie. And it could be like a Batman, a Dark Knight Returns or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why he keeps sitting around and posting all this shit on his Instagram to try to get people excited. And if you ask me, his momentum with like Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, he's getting a lot more momentum than the weird shit that James Gunn is doing. James Gunn is trying to counter that and show, no, I'm in charge. Everything is business as usual. We're doing the Brave and the Bold, Christina Hodson, whatever spread some rumors.
You know what screws him over is that behind the scenes that got leaked, not like leaked, but it was the behind the scenes footage from the Superman movie where David Cornsweet is trying to be like, hey, I want to do it this way. I think this will be the best thing. And he's kind of telling him not to do it. That is not what people want to see. If someone, because that's the thing with Henry Cavill that we don't know. It's like, well, was he trying to do more and Zack Snyder just stopped him? No, with David Cornsweet, we can easily see behind the scenes. So he was trying to be more of Superman. James Gunn was not really having it. It's like, yeah, you don't want to have that out there. I think James Gunn doesn't think that's bad. That's a very bad thing. It's basically him being like, yeah, don't be like the character. It's like, that's not good. That's bad. That's actually terrible. What do you want then, honestly?
One could argue whether James Gunn or Zack Snyder are the best fit for DC, but I will say this. I never got the impression that Zack Snyder hated, you know, or came into it with this kind of annoying cynicism. He did stuff that he was very passionate and excited about, and some of his creative choices were ones that I wouldn't have made, but I think that there were enough aspects when it comes to the cast and the tone of his movies that at least there were moments that like felt like legitimate, or at least that he was taking it seriously. James Gunn went and did that Guardians of the Galaxy goofy stuff, which I don't think is right for Superman. I don't think it's right for Batman, and overall, I just don't think that James Gunn is right for DC. That's my personal opinion.
No, I agree with that, Price. I mean, I'm trying to hold out, final, verdict on that until Supergirl and Lanterns come out. But I have not been impressed with what James Gunn has brought out, both with Superman and with Peacemaker. I mean, I liked Creature Commandos, but that whole tone, it doesn't work with Superman. It's a completely different type of character, and I really, really was disappointed in that movie. MSK, I hate to do this, but I do have to jump off. But just some quick thoughts, real quick before I jump off. Yeah, based on her previous work, I don't think she's right for this project. Price, you bring up some pretty interesting points, and there is always the possibility that this doesn't even go through, especially if James Gunn's contract doesn't even get renewed. So I mean, this is all up in the air. But yeah, if it does go through with her as the writer, I don't think she's the right choice. But that's just my thoughts. But I do need to jump off.
I'll see you next week if you're not dead.
Yeah. Just message me and let me know.
Yeah, anytime, man.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace out, dude.
Bye. Good hanging out.
Good hanging out with you too.
Christina Hodson, known for her work in the big IP and action spaces, is working on a Batman movie for DC Studios. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. Hudson is writing The Brave and the Bold, the feature project that is centered on Batman and Robin. Robin in this version is Damian Wayne, the murderous tween raised by assassins who also happens to be the son Batman never knew he had. This is based on Grant Morrison's run, if you don't know that. It is unclear how far along Brave and the Bold in the writing it is unclear how far along is Batman Brave and the Bold in the writing process. DC Studios had no comments on Hudson's involvement. One source said the scribe had been working on the project since at least the fall. Another source said that it would be some time before a definitive draft comes in, as the studio is taking a measured approach to its development. Well, I said that before with a lot of movies, like Batgirl. Remember that one? Jesus Christ. DC has faced conflicting currents in the development of its Batman movie. James Gunn and Peter Safran, who head DC, announced a Brave and the Bold project from the outset for their launching the superhero movie division in 2023. Andy Muschietti, who directed The Flash for Warner Brothers and the previous DC film division, was on board to develop and direct the project. Yeah, he was announced as director all the way back when James Gunn announced that, like, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, and half that shit got yeeted anyway.
You want another conspiracy theory? I feel like when all that shit was going on with The Flash, that they were ruining his movie, I don't think that Andy Muschietti is the genius everybody says he is, but I will
agree.
say that they probably didn't do him many favors with that Flash movie. I feel like at the time they said, listen, you know, we understand what happened here, and James Gunn wanted changes. He wanted more reshoots. He wanted to remove Affleck, remove Cavill, remove this, put Clooney in, remove this. He had all this stuff that he wanted, his shopping list of changing things. Probably at the time he said, listen, I know that you're a good director and that you got screwed over with this whole deal. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure you get a future movie. I like your style, blah, blah, blah. They also called Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise said that he loves Andy Muschietti. It's the best movie he's ever seen, and he wants to do 70 movies with him. Haven't seen him do 70 movies with Andy Muschietti, but that everybody kind of fell into line and went along with whatever narrative this was. And I feel like at the time there was a feeling of like, we'll owe you a favor. Not only that, Andy Muschietti is like in-house. He did Welcome to Derry. I think that was on Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it was on HBO Max. I remember, yeah.
And those It movies, and he did The Flash. So he's already doing a bunch of movies with them. This is an easy thing. It's like, I'll put it this way. If I needed to do a scheme and I called you and I know each other, we can do the scheme. You know what I mean? If I just went and found a guy on the street and I said, hey, let's do a scheme, I don't know who that guy is. You know what I mean? With you, I can say, me and you are doing a movie. You're going to direct it. Who's going to tell me anything? You know what I mean? Especially if we're working in the same office.
Right.
We work in the same office. We're working on like similar for the same company. I go and announce and I said, me and him, we're working on something together. What the fuck are they going to say? Nothing.
That's true.
And Hansen is also in the mix. So this is an easy situation that even if nothing happens, no harm, no foul. They spread the rumor. Maybe
Same thing
they
happened
will.
with that Black Superman movie. Remember that? I personally think the reason why they never did it was because, if you guys remember, back when that article came out on this specific website, when everyone was going over it, the amount of straight up backlash that it got, I agree with you. They kind of let these things get leaked so they can kind of like, what's that word? Like temper the waters, as they say. They kind of see where the wind is blowing. They never did that Black Superman movie. They knew that was a bad idea, but they wanted to see if the public would like that idea. No, we didn't. That was a fucking terrible idea. This might be one of those too where like these things get leaked, but they're the ones that are leaking these things to these guys, because THR and a lot of these other guys, well, they want to get invited to all those movie premieres and all those TV show invites you get. You know, leak my stuff on your big website. I'll throw you a bone every once in a while. You know, what you understand? A lot of this has happened on THR too, or they'll get inside information on a Star Wars movie. That movie never comes out, right? The only people that can give these guys this information is them, or there's another guy in there that gives them the information. But like you said before, I do believe that there is some sort of like because these guys are all on Twitter. They have private DM chats and everything. That they're not human, right? So
listen, it says in the article, welcome to Derry. She was doing this, he was doing that. They're all in the mix. They're all in the same group. It's a few people together, like putting together this thing. Now, it could be that they're saying, maybe you told them, listen, I'm going to spread some rumors. Maybe this thing gains momentum.
Right.
and then we can actually make it a reality. So you guys are already going to be around. In the worst case scenario, it's a rumor that you're sought after writers and directors, and you get your name dropped in a bunch of headlines. Everybody's talking about you as some like hotshot. What's the worst that can happen? It's a win-win for everybody. It's good PR for me and my DCU, good PR for the both of you, and you don't have to do anything. You just sit around, and a bunch of newspapers is going to be writing your names and talking about you now for the next few weeks.
Mhm. But finding a writer and a take on the material proved for the longest time elusive. Muschietti remains on board, but his ultimate involvement depends on several factors, including timing and availability. The filmmaker now finds himself a hot commodity thanks to the muscular success of Welcome to Derry. I've not watched this, so maybe it is good, maybe it's bad. I can't
It's
speak
terrible. It is absolutely awful. Mandy Machete, he did the first It movie, which was the It remake. I thought that movie was decent. It wasn't a bad movie. The sequel already was a dip in quality. He didn't do so great with the sequel. And then the series is less than the sequel. The series had so many issues. I was pretty infuriated. I mean, there's no other way for me to say it. It was very, very agenda driven. Very agenda driven, in my opinion. Had a lot of kind of like, call it woke or whatever it is, elements that kind of annoyed me personally.
HBO It series, a second season is now in the works, even if it has not been officially renewed. Then there is the Batman movie, now in pre-production from filmmaker Matt Reeves and actor Robert Pattinson. DC is said to be giving Reeves' project ample space to breathe and is in no rush to put forth another Batman feature into the marketplace. It wants to make sure that Brave and the Bold is distinct enough in tone and look to stand apart, regardless of when it gets made. But that's another problem, too. Batman should overall have a very serious tone. That's just how the character kind of is. The best comic book stories from that character are very serious in nature, i.e., like what, The Killing Joke? Just that one for a lot of people. Year One, it's a very dark story. Dark Knight Returns is a dark story. So the thing is, the Batman movies, in my opinion, they really shouldn't be that distinct in tone. They need to be dark movies. I'm sorry.
If you're Warner Brothers, amidst the mess that's happening, amidst the fact that superheroes are kind of on the decline or whatever they want to call it, a lot of it is their doing. But if you're in this position, are you really going to greenlight two Batmans at the same time amidst a company merger that, in 2 seconds, this may end up like, problems with the government, courts, lawsuits. Right. In the midst of this, you want two Batmans when they're already making one? It doesn't. Somehow this whole scenario doesn't add up for me, and it's all coming from some guy who has like a 50-50 track record that sometimes he said stuff and it's true, sometimes it's not true, and Gunn could have leaked this himself as some kind of maneuver. I'm really not confident here personally.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, listen, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it'll happen, but I haven't seen. If at least DC would have come out, if James Gunn would have made an announcement after this and said, yes, I greenlit it. This has been greenlit. We're already working on the DC.
He has did that a lot to these traits too. Like even with the Jimmy Olsen one, remember? Because they were like, is it real? He's like, yeah, it is real, but the name is wrong. It's like, okay. So he did confirm it's real. So he would usually do that though. He would usually come on and be like, no, that's bullshit. And I like this guy, but that's wrong.
Ever since, this is my opinion, and again, I could be wrong on it. I'm not like the ultimate authority, and of course, we don't work at Warner Brothers, and we don't see all this stuff. But after it was announced that Matt Reeves was getting his second Batman, and James Gunn, there didn't seem to be any announcement on his DCU Batman. Every time he went to like Threads, which he does his maneuvers, he'd be answering people. People are like, oh, which actor is going to be the DCU Batman? So we'd answer, oh, there's so many options. Really, there's so many possibilities. Now, this doesn't mean that there's going to be a DCU Batman tomorrow. He would just always go and find these people asking and answer them, because then there would be articles about it. And then he'd generate press about his Batman without this Batman, as far as I can tell, even being greenlit. Now, I'm not saying they'll never do it. Maybe somebody will say, yes, we want two Batmans at the same time. We're going to greenlight James Gunn's Batman. But for now, I don't know. It would seem really odd amidst this chaos to shove in an additional Batman, to me.
Yeah. Hodson has gained respect from peers and execs for her strong scripts. Well, then that means nothing. Like all these guys praise women now, guys. This is not like how many times we've heard this. Oh well, these directors and executives praise women. Well, yeah, they can't criticize them. They'll literally not have jobs. That's just kind of the chokehold they have these guys in. Even though they're the ones with the money, they have to bow down to these women that need them for jobs. It's fucking ridiculous, actually. She has worked in the Gotham City corner of DC before, having penned the script for a Batman Beyond feature that earned praise inside the studio but was never made. That's not good. That means you can tell they had no faith in that. Let's just say hypothetically, they did praise it. They had no faith in it. They had absolutely no faith in it. It never even got made. All we hear was it was liked. Well, that's means nothing. She showed it to some people that liked her, and they said they liked it. Well, of course they're gonna like it. They like her. That's kind of weirdly biased, actually. She has several other DC credentials, having worked with Muschietti on The Flash. She also penned Margot Robbie-led Birds of Prey movie. Her other credits include the 2018 Transformers movie Bumblebee. Yeah, like, hypothetically, even if this is true, this is a terrible person for the job. Doesn't deserve it. Her comic book movies are abysmal. That's just saying it, putting it very lightly. And if this is the writer, like, I just really can't think the Batman movie would even turn out any good. Like, even if she is the writer, I have hope in that. Christian Hodson, guys, has wrote some pretty shitty fucking comic movies. You can lie to yourself and say they're good, but, well, you must be doing crack, and I don't do crack. But I'll get a Price of Reason's final thoughts on this. Got anything else you want to bring up about this specific topic, or, you know?
No, I mean, I think that the final thing that I'll tell you is that I think that there's been a strange tug of war creatively for this DC for the past few months amidst all this kind of merger and acquisition talk and then bids and all that stuff. I feel like anybody that's giving you 100% information right now is doing so without really being able to. Meaning, I think that there's just a lot up in the air and nobody can tell you 100% what's going to happen one way or another. That's why, you keep seeing different stories that seem to conflict with each other because there's just a level of uncertainty. I'm not saying that this article is false and could never happen, but I'm saying that if it was tomorrow, if it turned out that it was like all those Star Wars projects that never materialized, this is another one of those weird things, I would believe that as well.
Yeah, I agree. As you guys know, for me, my final thoughts and opinions on this is, I'll play it both ways. This could not happen because this has happened a lot in the entertainment space, a lot where things just get announced, and by the time you remember that these things got announced, they just get canceled. I.e., the Wonder Woman game that got announced, and then by the time you guys remembered, it was canceled. But if she is the writer, that's bad. That's just awful. Like, James Gunn has made some very questionable decisions. This would be the worst one. This would be like, how would this not be the worst one, guys? She wrote the fucking Birds of Prey movie. Birds of Prey. This movie, oh, goodness gracious. So, yeah, hopefully this movie will be good after we've learned of potential landmines that these people are going to be walking over to hire their friends. Good Lord. So, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you've not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video or go live. I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, and we're going to sign up, guys. See you guys later. Goodbye. Peace. All right, we're gonna head out of here in just a minute. I know it's late for you, but what else would I ask you? Good Lord, I forgot. You said Star Trek. I know people were talking about something with Alex Kurtzman, saying they're gonna cancel one of the newer shows or whatever. Isn't it called like Starfleet Academy or something? I'm not a Star Trek guy, but that's what I've heard.
Starfleet Academy is a new show that came out, and it's a complete disaster. I think that in general, it's not only just canceling Starfleet Academy. It's kind of like the what you had with the Acolyte and Star Wars. You had Starfleet Academy and Star Trek. That it's just it's so far removed from what this franchise is supposed to be, and just a huge middle finger to anybody that potentially likes it, with a bunch of modern day messaging and propaganda and all that kind of girl power stuff, and really, really annoying.
Good Lord, because remember when Paramount announced a Star Trek movie with their cast? They didn't even know it was announced. They're like, what? What is going on with some of these people? Same thing happens for Lucasfilm. Like, they'll announce stuff and then nothing. Just
I think that sometimes they announce stuff when they have like a meeting with their board, with their investors and things like that, and there's some like important day, and it looks good that they're announcing a bunch of stuff. They can cancel them a year or two later, But that moment when they needed the momentum and to make themselves look good, sometimes studios have been known to announce some projects knowing that at least some of them are never going to see the light of day. And I feel like we've seen a lot of that from Star Wars. We've seen a little bit of that with Star Trek. Even I dare say even the MCU. They announced Blade. Until now, it doesn't look like Blade's happening.
Yeah, Blade's just, and then everything we heard. I'll be honest here. Everything we heard about it looks like it was gonna It was gonna be a piece of shit anyway. You know.
It seemed, and I don't know if I read into this correctly, it seemed like Mahershala Ali wasn't too happy because they wanted it to make it the usual 4 ladies barking orders at him, and I think said that he didn't think that was a good story, and they wanted to rewrite. He wanted them to rewrite the script, and until now they haven't been able, I guess, to write a script that wasn't 4 ladies barking at him.
The
you know what I mean?
The part that I read where he was going to get replaced is like, well, that would have been shit. That would have been the same thing they were doing, replacing a male character with their female counterpart. It's like, why were they so? I just don't understand why they were so keen on doing that. That wasn't even a thing that was liked or enjoyed comic book wise. That shit didn't. People don't know. Yes, those kind of things happen in the comic books. They all got that Marvel did away with that stuff. They all swapped that shit around. They put it all back. Now, was it all written good? I would imagine no. But that idea of what they were doing in the comic books failed there, and I have no idea why they tried that in movies. I legit don't know. Also, I've told people this: if you're mad that Captain America is coming back, or Iron Man eventually probably will be back in some capacity, probably played by a different person, they should have never killed them off anyway. Why would I never agree with that anyway with Endgame? I know Endgame has its issues and people like the movie, but long term, why would they have gotten rid of those characters? Like, you can retire them and bring them back eventually, but the idea that we're going to kill these characters off and to bring them back, well, yeah, I kind of agree with the fans on that point. Yeah, of course that's going to make people angry. They're going to feel like that moment was cheapened out. Yeah, should have never gotten rid of them. It's just retire the characters. But after Endgame, you had Far From Home, which was, well, that was a steaming pile of ass too. Good Lord. Far From Home was, whoo, that was a fucking terrible movie. But you have any hope for Doomsday, dude?
I think that it's probably going to make money. It's going to have some member berries in it and all this stuff, but I think that ultimately, I don't think that it's going to be the best experience. It's going to be good enough for people to go see it just for the nostalgia, but they didn't prepare it. They didn't build it like they did with an Infinity War and Endgame. There's no build up here. This is just out of left field. They're making some movies hoping some people will come back and start watching MCU again. And some people will, but I don't have a lot of hope for it, if to be honest.
Yeah, it's just a weird, desperate pivot, though. Like, how is it not? Because their movies were not doing good financially. Some of them mega flopping. Like, the Marvels was their worst flop since, what, 2008's Incredible Hulk movie. And then they freaking went, King didn't work out. So they just kind of scrambled last minute to get that movie made. Also, RDJ said he wouldn't have did the movie anyway unless the Russo brothers were in it. They weren't even going to hire the Russo brothers, who did their most successful movies anyway. It shouldn't be RDJ going like, you know what, I'm going to only do it if they're in it or I'm not doing it. It's like, maybe the Russo brothers aren't the best choice for it, but I don't know what they're doing over there. I hope Doomsday works out for them. Like, the last building blocks for the MCU was in Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and maybe Brand New Day leads into Doomsday. They literally use the lead up into Doomsday is going to be 3 post-credit scenes. That's it. That's your lead up to Doomsday. Just 3 post-credit scenes. It's like, all right, we're kind of used to something different happening for Avengers movies, but it's all good. It's all good. We'll just take our less efforted shit, apparently. But I'll ask you a few things before we head out. First things first is, do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
No, it's okay. I don't really I have a channel. People can check out what I do there. I don't know. It's fine.
It's fine. Oh my God. You're not into I'm trying to shill you, man. God dang it. Yeah. But yeah, man.
No, I appreciate it. Okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to be ungrateful. I have a channel and you can go check it out.
Oh my God. Why are you like this? I tried. But
you did good.
Oh my God, man. But hey, I'll tell you this right now. If Mandalorian and Grogu fail, I know there's going to be, because you said earlier when people were making those articles about Superman saying if it doesn't hit like almost $1 billion, it's going to be a failure. Then articles come out like a month or two later after its box office run is over, and they go, well, you know what? It actually wasn't that big of a disaster as you come to think about it. It's like, didn't you just 2 months ago say if it didn't reach these metrics, it was a failure? But that's how these people are. These people, guys, have no moral principles. They're all bought and paid for. Like, I remember seeing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember seeing people literally having headlines going, if Superman doesn't make this much, it is a failure. Quite literally, almost verbatim, word for word. Well, Superman doesn't reach that. But it actually made profit here. Where? How? Well, it just made it through this metric. What? What? I'm pointing out right now, if Mandalorian Grogu almost pretty much flops box office-wise when it drops later this year, you will have people saying that doesn't imply Star Wars is dead. Which is crazy because
it doesn't seem like there's a lot of hype building for this movie, but
not a lot at all.
The only thing I wonder is how much they spent on it. If they could keep it as at a minimum, because I don't know the budget, if they could, Favreau, if they almost could film it like a few episodes of the TV show for a cheaper budget, maybe there's a chance. Maybe
I think it was made for I think it's supposed to be made for like what, 72 million or something like that. I know it's made cheaper than their other movies. I'm pretty sure it's like $72 million. Well, let me see. Let me make sure I check. Box office wise. Oh my god. Budget. Movie
it
budget.
said that it's 166 million.
Woo!
Listen, making the most affordable Disney era Star Wars film, aided significantly by 21 millions from California tax credit. So it would be $144 million. Listen, $144 million for something that maybe so they can get some families and kids and whatever to see it. Maybe they come out of this, they at least say it's not a failure. I'm trying to think what it needs to make. With 144 million, it needs to make, like, let's say,
also, if you're factoring in the marketing would have to be at least around $100 million too. So
right. No, like usually, I mean, see, the thing is, I think in the past you could take the production budget, multiply it by 2.5, and that would include the marketing. But these days, they invest so much in the marketing that sometimes I even think that it's more like at least 3, and sometimes even more. But let's think for a second. Let's say it's 150, even though it's not, times 2, 450 million. Let's put it this way. They could probably claim that if it makes less than 450 million at the box office worldwide, that it's a failure. But if it makes more than 450 worldwide, they could claim that it wasn't a failure for them. They would then add it to Disney Plus, and between the theater and Disney Plus, they could claim that it was worth it as long as they didn't lose money. Will it make 450 million worldwide? I don't know. It also depends on if this movie is going to be like a complete turd or if it's going to be.
Yeah, I think word of mouth is going to carry it a lot, because if the word of mouth is good, potentially it keeps a nice second weekend. If the word of mouth is bad, I'm talking like we're probably going to see like a 70% drop off week 2. Because you said 144, so 144, like I said, times 2.5. That's 360. Now that's just probably the break even point right there. So I would imagine another couple $100 million.
Yeah, sorry, I was wrong. I think it's 150, and then 75, so it's 375. If this thing is correct, I still will say that based on their marketing and what they're going to do, it's more like 3. Oh, I did the 3. You know what? Yeah. Let's put it this way. I'll be generous. I think that less than 400 million, it's a flop. Over 400 million, even if it's true or not, they could somehow spin it as a movie they didn't lose money on. Based on how they market their movies, I still think it's more like they need to make over 450 million. But hey, at least it's not one of those things where they have to make over $1 billion.
That's true. If the movie barely breaks even, like it literally hits like 390, I'm like, wow, that would probably suck. But hey, in this movie landscape, you never know. Last thing I'll ask you, Matt, is do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone in particular? Anything else you want to say before you head out?
No, not really. I'll shout out you.
Oh God, you need a hug? Oh God. Oh no. Oh my God. No hugs. My part of my back is falling apart. Oh my God. Gonna get some rest after this. But yeah, guys, I have podcast and game streams coming up. Good Lord, I'm old. Oh, sorry. I have podcast and game streams coming up for you guys for the rest of the week, so stay tuned for that. But yes, I really want to lay this message out there for dudes out there. Please stop simping for every decision these companies make. Sometimes they make good decisions, sometimes they make bad ones. And it's a lot of these guys are just straight up simping for constant women. What is this? That's the hill you want to die on? Birds of Prey and The Flash. That's the hill you're dying. Well, you just don't know, man. This movie goes hard. No, it doesn't. It goes hard in the trash. That's what I would say. It goes hard in. But hey, I guess to each his own. I guess if you're fine with your wife pegging you, that's fine, obviously. But so yeah, thank you guys for checking out this episode of the